Our next guest is one of several House Republicans calling for accountability from the administration, and she's actually calling for President Biden to resign. Joining us now, Florida Congresswoman and member of the Homeland Security Committee, Kat Cammack. Congresswoman, good to see you again.
Hey, Sean, good to see you. Hey, Lindsay.
So I want to get to this press thing in just a moment, but this just came across, and I cannot believe a military leader saying, this is General McKenzie, you would like to bring out everybody that wanted to come out. We were not able to do that. The situation wouldn't allow it. What is going on when our military leaders are saying, you know, you'd like to do it, but the situation wouldn't? The situation? What the heck? This is, I don't understand what country this is when we're talking about the situation wouldn't allow us to bring out American citizens?
Sean, I am shaking. I am so furious right now. I cannot even begin to tell you how heartbroken and pissed off, quite frankly, myself, my team, my colleagues, the veteran community, you name it, the list goes on and on. That is BS. The fact that General McKenzie stood there in front of a podium and said that they wouldn't have been able to get them out, that's BS. My team has been working around the clock, 24 hours a day. In fact, I know several congressional offices that have been running 24 hours a day trying to get people out of Afghanistan, American citizens out of Afghanistan. For the last 72 hours, I have had direct contact with the Department of Defense, with the Department of State, giving them lists of American citizens who had to make multiple trips to the gates because this administration gave the information for our American citizens and our allies to the Taliban, and they actively sought them out. So we kept having to change the safe houses and change the routes to get around the Taliban checkpoints. And you know what happened last night after the third attempt of us trying to get 4 American citizens along with several green card holders and SIVs out? They killed our translator and they video recorded it. And I had to sit there and watch as a 20-year-old who had been helping Americans since he was 15 years old was beaten and executed by the Taliban. This will absolutely not stand. We will be holding this administration accountable across the board. Since he loves deadlines so much, he can have up until midnight on August 31st to resign. But Americans, we deserve accountability. Just saying that the buck stops with you doesn't mean that you actually have taken full responsibility. We have Marines who have given their lives. We have families here at home who will never see their loved ones again because of the total and utter incompetence of this administration. And I know I speak for several of my colleagues who are still, along with my team, trying to get Americans out. They may say that the war is over, that the conflict is over. It isn't until every single American gets home. So until that president, that man in the White House who claims to be commander-in-chief, decides to do something different, we will make sure that we are putting people above politics, because he certainly has made it clear, abundantly clear, that they are about nothing but a political outcome centered around a 20th anniversary of one of the most devastating attacks on American soil. We will get our people home. And as you can probably tell, I'm pretty upset right now. I am absolutely, utterly disgusted.
Somebody needs to be.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to be.
Rightfully so, Congresswoman, because we saw our president today, the man who said the buck stops with me, refused to answer questions on Afghanistan as we have Americans being left behind pretty much as he was speaking there. And we also saw, as Sean mentioned, that the Secretary of State was on holiday when the Taliban took over Kabul. Do you have Democratic support to hold this administration accountable, or is it mostly Republicans?
You know, by and large, mostly I've talked with Republicans, but of the Democrats that I have spoken with, they are equally disgusted. I mean, how is it that Congress is on recess, that this administration has been on vacation? No member of Congress should be on vacation while a single American is left behind. That is why we have been screaming at the top of our lungs that Nancy Pelosi needs to reconvene Congress. We need to get back in session ASAP. Because clearly there is no leadership happening at the highest levels. So we need to step in. The American people deserve that. In 8 months, this president has undermined the credibility and integrity of the United States of America. And our people are crying out for leadership. They are crying out for someone to give a damn. So Congress needs to get back in session and prove to the American people that there are people who are willing to step up and make sure that our Americans get home. But this is just nuts. The fact that the last 5 flights out of Afghanistan didn't include a single American citizen, that the last 12 hours that we did operations at the Kabul airport, there wasn't one American citizen let through the gates. I know from my team I have said they have been working nonstop for the last 2 weeks, 24 hours a day, taking shifts throughout the night to make sure that the State Department and DOD and all of the other groups working in this space had all the contact information, reworking routes, and they had been sent to the gates multiple times. I know of other congressional offices that were getting their American citizens to the gates and they were being turned away. It is absolutely unconscionable. The last 5 flights didn't have one American on them.
It is amazing that people like you and your staff are doing the job that the State Department should be doing. It's amazing that the people we've had on this show, these NGOs, these organizations, are flying people out or helping them get to gates. This is, I'm proud of what you and your team is doing, and I'm so proud of so many of the other former service members and people who want to help, like Ben, who we just had on, are stepping up and doing this. But my goodness, this is what our government's supposed to do. It's an embarrassment. Congresswoman, thank you for joining us. Thanks for what you and your team and your staff continue to do to help our fellow citizens.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. We will make sure that people get home.